If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home. Welcome to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM, and you can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com, where you can look us up on your favorite podcast platform as well. Just look for Catholic Audio Media in the search bar and scroll through until you see the voice of St. Anthony Parish. Or you can look for Catholic Audio Media, 3 words as opposed to 1 in the first case, on Spotify. Same process, just scroll through until you find the voice of St. Anthony Parish. Well, we're going through questions that people raise about Catholicism. And one of the questions is, can anyone be a saint? This is an important question for Catholics and non-Catholics alike. And one of the reasons is because there are different understandings of what a saint is. And it's important to have that understood, because for many Catholics, a saint is someone who is a very special person, which chances are they will never be. That's an incorrect understanding, but that's how many people feel. In many of the non-Catholic Christian religions, a saint is someone who has been baptized. So there are different definitions on that level, but what is a saint in the Catholic Church? Very simply, a saint is someone who gets to heaven. And how does one get to heaven? Well, there's the million-dollar question right then and there. That's the question that is the center of so much of our history in Catholicism and in the other Christian religions. But I think it's important to have a good understanding of what that means so that you can understand who becomes a saint. And a saint is simply someone who goes to heaven. That's simple. Now, one of the issues that is very common in more traditional Catholicism. It's not an official teaching of the church. As a matter of fact, it's an incorrect teaching of the church. And you could read the saints and say they never said this and they never agreed to this. Therefore, the church at the time never agreed to this. But mostly from such organs as the Baltimore Catechism, which I do not support, although many people from the traditional parts of the church really love it, and I'll explain you about that in a minute. But the Baltimore Catechism was a very simple question and answer catechism. The problem is some of the questions and answers, virtually all of them, have profound answers as you mature in the faith. So if you take the simple question and answer format and you could tweet virtually the entire Baltimore Catechism, obviously not all at once, one question at a time, that's how pithy the question and answer is, that you really need some profound answers in order to fully understand the faith. That's why I don't like the Baltimore Catechism. So, one of the issues that people came to believe is that we get to heaven by doing good things. And so, in a sense, they came to believe in the works that we do in order to get us into heaven. But that's a heresy, and I talk about this a lot. You do not earn your way to heaven, because if you do, then heaven becomes like school. I mentioned this, I think, last week, or I mentioned this actually in the morning show. It becomes like school. If the teacher says you need to get 65 points to pass, and you get 65 points, whether you do well in school or not, but you get your 65 points, you pass. That's it. And so you can go to the teacher and you can say, you have to pass me because I got my 65 points. Well, if we talk about earning our way to heaven, that's exactly what you can do to God. But that doesn't work that way. You don't do anything to God. But you could literally say, well, I earned my way to heaven. I did all these good works. Therefore, you have to let me into heaven. That's the problem with believing that in order to get to heaven, we have to do good works. It's one of the many problems. Now, many in the non-Catholic Christian faith believe that we are saved by grace. That means Jesus died on the cross, he rose from the dead, and through that action we are saved. So all we have to do is be baptized, and through that baptism we are saved. Those are two extremes that a Catholic faith doesn't agree with on both. The one extreme that some Catholics believe, and the other extreme that some Protestants believe. Among the people who did not believe in that second extreme was Billy Graham, by the way. We're going to talk more on the other side of the break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the voice of St. Anthony Parish overnight. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and we're talking about this powerful question, how do we become a saint? And as I told you, a saint is someone who is in heaven. That's it. That's a simple definition of a saint. But there are many Catholics believe a saint is someone who has this heroic form of holiness in order that they have a special place in heaven, which is an incorrect definition. And then the non-Catholic Christians, which I'm not going to criticize so much because this is a Catholic show, believe that we're saved by grace, that Jesus died on the cross and he rose. And therefore, if you are baptized, you are saved. Or you say the sinner's prayer, you are saved. And I said Billy Graham didn't accept that. Well, how are you saved? Well, we are saved by the death and resurrection of Jesus, and then we respond to that action by Jesus by the way we live our life, in gratitude and in love of God and neighbor, which is the commandment. So that's how. So what is a saint? Is a person who responds in love and gratitude to the death and resurrection of Jesus, and it is obvious in his or her life. Now, a saint is not a perfect person. There's an expression that is used in many places in the Catholic Church that you can go to hell imitating the failures of saints. And what that means is all the saints had some kind of sins. They all engaged in some kind of sin that they worked to get rid of, and they work through prayer and building virtue and everything else. So the concept that once someone became a Christian, which at the time in many of the saints was Catholic, say for example St. Francis, who was a soldier and then he became a very powerful saint. Well, the minute he became a saint, he was this super holy person. No, that is not an accurate portrayal. And you will find that many of the saints had sins for which what they all did, for which they confessed for the grace to overcome those sins. This is real. I know this is really a good example of a sin, but one of the struggles that St. Francis had was he was terrified of lepers. And he knew that if he was going to be a true servant of Christ, he would have to get over this fear of lepers, and he would have to actually embrace one. And he ultimately ended up doing that. But that took a long time of his life. He also, by the way, St. Francis did not get along with his father. That's well known. And in fact, in court, he was a rather sensual human being. So in court, his father took him to court because his father was a merchant, and he'd given away a lot of the clothes that his father sold to the poor, which of course he had no right to do. That's a form of stealing because they weren't his clothes, they were his father's clothes. And he went to court. His father took him to court, and his father said, I want him to return everything he took from me, and or something along those lines, everything he owes me. And St. Francis at that moment, who only had the clothes he was wearing, took off the clothes he was wearing and walked naked out of the courtroom. So as you can see, he wasn't a model of perfection either, because he did not get along with his father. There are many other saints who had all kinds of struggles in one form or another. So the concept that you have to be this perfect person to be a saint, number one, leads us back to what I said at the beginning of the show, into a form of Pelagianism, which, you work hard to become a saint. And secondly, it leaves God's grace out completely because you're working hard on your own. The true reality is what is required of all people of faith, all Christians of faith, Catholics and non-Catholics, is that you have a prayerful relationship with Jesus. Now, I know there are some traditional Catholics that have just shivered when they heard that, but they are wrong. I'll be honest. We are all called to have a prayerful relationship with Christ. You ask any of the leaders of the church, including people like Cardinal Sarah or even Bishop Athanasius Schneider, or obviously Pope Francis, and none of those people are not necessarily on the same page on certain things. They will all tell you that, yes, we're required to have a personal relationship, prayerful relationship with Christ. That's an essential part. And it's through that grace that comes through that prayerful relationship, and we respond to that grace, that we grow in holiness and are led into eternal life and heaven. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home.